The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Since I introduced in the previous lesson the simplified character yu, which originally served as a sort of musical notation, I thought it useful to continue with two more very basic characters of a similar origin. The first is another musical notation that closely resembles both hu and yu, so let's review those two characters before continuing. Hu was repurposed in literary Chinese as an exclamation point, question mark, or universal preposition. Our next character reviewed here is yu from lesson 112. It's another form of musical notation to indicate how sound should be produced in the throat but stopped at the lips. Yu is now used as a sort of preposition to indicate going forward and stopping at a precise spot. Today's first new character, then, looks very much like both hu and yu, for the simple reason that it was also originally a musical notation and not a word per se. Today, however, it has expanded in scope to become a very common Chinese character, pronounced second tone, ping. What did ping originally represent? It's obviously a combination of yu and the number 8, ba, indicating separation, referring to the unobstructed, relaxed, and gentle expansion of the breath. This gave rise to its modern meanings of even, level, flat and peaceful, with extended verbal senses of calming down anger, subduing and pacifying a population, or quelling a revolt, literally flattening it. We'll start with the simplest meaning of flat or level. 拿那本书来，这把椅子不平。Bring me that book. This chair wobbles. Of course, the book will serve to prop up the leg of the chair. 下大雪，现在雪喊到门，相平。It's snowing heavily and is now level with the front door. We long ago learned that the color white, bai, also means blank or empty. When paired with ping, the meaning flatness, we obtain the phrase ping bai, describing something happening out of the blue and completely unprovoked, without reason or cause. 你不要像那样讲，省得平白使人恼怒。To avoid annoying people unnecessarily, don't say that. Notice the phrase 省得, meaning to avoid, lest something unfortunate happen. 当时的童工生活很苦，常常平白挨骂挨打。The life of child laborers at that time was very hard. They were often cursed at and beaten for no reason. Water, if undisturbed, always lies perfectly flat. So 水平 means horizontal, but more importantly also serves as one of the expressions for a level or a standard. 我们必须努力赶上世界水平. We must strive to attain world-class standards. 货品的水平太差，我们不买. The goods are too low quality. We won't buy them. 两个人在技术上水平相差不多. Those two are not much different when it comes to their level of technical skill. 他的外语水平不及他哥哥的一半. Her foreign language level is not even half her brother's. Recall that ji depicts a hand seizing a fugitive and means to reach, attain, or come up to. So, 不及 indicates her language skills cannot or do not reach half her brother's level. when everyone is on the same level, benefiting from a so-called level playing field, the situation is said to be fair or 公平, literally, openly and publicly level. 为了那件事情而责怪我，是太不公平的。It's unfair to blame me for that. 你的见解有失公平，因为你不是当事人。Your opinion is biased because you were not involved. 公平地说一句，他的人很好，就是懒了一点。To be fair, he's a good person, just a little on the lazy side. 太多的限制，两国之间的公平贸易是不可能的。Too many restrictions make fair trade between the two countries impossible. The correct term for equal and equality is 平等。人人都理当享有平等的对待。All people deserve equal treatment. 他们完全平等地在一起生活和工作。They live and work together in complete equality. 太平 is the expression for peace and tranquility. 国王在位那几年的时间很太平。Those few years of the king's reign were very peaceful. 惹他生气的话，以后你就不会有太平日子过。If you anger him, you'll never have a day's peace thereafter. 太平间 literally the peaceful room, is the proper way to say a morgue in Chinese. The emergency exits in theaters, especially those leading to a fire escape, are often referred to as 太平门。外出看电影时，一定要留意太平门在哪里。When going out to the movies, be sure to note where the emergency exits are. We learned 和约 in Lesson 95 for a peace treaty, where 和 is actually the abbreviation of 和平, meaning peace, as opposed to outright war. 持久的世界和平有可能的吗？ Is lasting world peace possible? 和平在这个世界上连个影子也没有。There is no trace of peace in this world. Switching 和平 around and saying 平和 means a gentle, mild, or placid temperament. 我叔叔的性情平和。My uncle has a gentle disposition. 那头牛是很平和的，不用怕它。That cow's very docile. There's no need to be afraid of it. The colloquial way to say all one's life up to now is 平生, literally, the even progression of one's life. 他是我平生最为憎恨的人。He's the person I've hated most in my life. 她是我平生见过最了不起的女人。She's the most amazing woman I've ever met in my entire life. 爸爸平生最得意的事有3件，其中1件是娶我妈妈。There are 3 things my dad is most proud of in this life. One of them is marrying my mom. When 平生 is reversed, becoming 生平, it refers to the entire course of one's life, often including various milestones and experiences within it. For this reason, 生平 is the correct term when giving a biographical sketch of some well-known person who has died. 他请我看的电影是关于甘地的生平。The movie she invited me to see was about the life of Gandhi. Gandhi is the transliterated spelling of the world-famous Indian lawyer who used non-violent resistance to campaign for India's independence from British rule in 1949. 他正在拍的电影是关于一个著名诗人的生平。The movie he's making is about the life of a famous poet. 我生平从来没有像现在对他那样恼火过。I've never in all my life been so annoyed with him. Notice in this example that many Chinese speakers use 平生 and 生平 interchangeably when referring to oneself, who is obviously not dead. But there actually is a difference. To help you recall the difference, if 平 comes first, 平生, the connotations of flatness and equality indicate the average person, the common person's life, which will most likely be your life or mine. If you should choose to say 生平, you're probably referring to a life, the life of one very uncommon person who has passed on. We've already seen various expressions with 常, meaning often in English, such as 常常, the most general term, 通常, emphasizing the regularity of recurrence, and 时常, a less common term for frequent actions. Well, now there's 平常 with the connotation of normal and ordinary. 这个字平常很少用。This word is rarely used. Literally, it's little often used. 他平常不怎么说话。He doesn't normally talk much. 您今天需要比平常早一点用餐吗？ Will you require breakfast earlier than usual today, sir? To stress the feeling of ordinariness, even mediocrity, the connotation of flatness can be emphasized by doubling the character and saying 平平。这个机构全是能力平平的人。This organization is filled with mediocrities. 餐厅多年来生意是平平而已。The restaurant has been scraping along financially for many years. Literally, business has been flat for many years. 你今天的手气平平，不要再赌了。You don't appear to be so lucky today, so lay off the gambling. Notice that 手气 means luck in gambling, especially at card games. When a confused situation has settled down, or a rebellion has been quelled, the phrase to use is 平定。他很乱的心情已平定下来了。Her confused state of mind has calmed down. 领导者迅速地平定了国家的内乱。The leader swiftly quelled civil unrest within the country. To divide equally is expressed as 平分。这个你们可以两个人平分。You can divide this equally between the two of you. 请把这个圆平分为两等份。Please divide this circle into two equal parts. 他过世之后，这土地就平分给了几个儿子。After his death, this land was divided equally among his sons. Ordinarily, normally, or as usual, can be translated as 平时 or 平日。你平时下班几点到家？ What time do you usually get home from work? 百货行平日是早上11点开门吗？ Does the department store open at 11 a.m. on weekdays? 我认为她的办事能力不及平时。I feel her performance is not quite up to par. 她像平日一样若无其事地来上班。She came to work as usual, as if nothing had happened. Notice the new idiom, 若无其事, meaning to act casually or indifferent, as if nothing had happened. 平心而论 is a four-character 成语 meaning in all fairness or to give a person his or her due. 平心而论，在技术上，他可是个一流的技工。To be fair, he is a first-rate technician. 他是个新手。平心而论，他比你们都认真努力。She may be just a trainee, but honestly, she works harder than the rest of you. 我跟他合不来。平心而论，他是个敬业的员工。I may not get along with him, but to give him his due, he's dedicated to his work. And finally, we have the idiom 心平气和 to mean calm and even-tempered, not letting one's personal feelings interfere in one's judgment. 他是个心平气和而讲理的人。He's a calm and reasonable person. 等你心平气和的时候，我再来，好吗？ I'll come back later when you're in a calmer frame of mind, okay? 你最好心平气和地坐下来跟他讲理。You'd better sit down and reason with him calmly. 几乎没有人能心平气和地回答这个问题。Almost no one can answer this question calmly. Today's second character is not a form of musical notation, but rather a sort of sentence final punctuation mark, originally indicating the expression of a complete thought in classical Chinese, similar to an English period or full stop. It's pronounced third tone, 只. It's a pictograph showing a mouth with two puffs of breath. Since Chinese was originally written from top to bottom on strips of bamboo, the breath is pointing downwards toward the next thought to be expressed. Possibly due to its simplicity, during the Song dynasty over 1,000 years ago, 只 began to replace a more complex character with the same pronunciation, composed of the clothing radical plus an element depicting a seed beginning to germinate, sending its root down into the earth and pushing its stem and leaves up through the soil. This seed, with its root and stem, became a symbol of the noble class, or a clan, depicting those highly esteemed individuals putting down roots and bearing many descendants. With the addition of the clothing radical 一, this character 只 came to mean only, because clothing bearing one's clan emblem was only worn by a few upper-class individuals. The modern usage of 只 with the mouth radical to mean only, just, or but is therefore a borrowing from that symbol of the nobility. There's an endless number of phrases taking third tone 只 for only or just. 不要只听顺耳的话. Don't just listen to the nice things people say to you. 我玩累了，只想回家. I'm tired of playing and just want to go home. 他只花5分钟就把早点吃完. It only took him 5 minutes to finish breakfast. These next 3 examples use the phrase 不只 or 不只是, meaning not only. 人生不只是为了名利而已. Life is not just about fame and fortune. 这种迷信不只是你们中国人才有. It's not only you Chinese who have this superstition. 他是行动家，不只是思想家、言论家. She's a doer, not just a thinker or a speaker. 你可以得到2个人的支持，而不止一个. You can get the support of 2 people, not just 1. These next sentences contain 只有, meaning there's only one way, or to have to do something. 不要认为只有你才行. Don't think you're the only one who can do it. 这里只有你和我，再也没别人. There's only you and me here, no one else. 只有天真才会说出这种不合理的话. Only the naive would say such unreasonable things. 我只有一天可待，明天一大早就走. I'm only staying one day and leaving early tomorrow morning. 若失火的话，只有一个通道可以出去的. In case of fire, there's only one way out. To fear only this is expressed by 只怕. 您说过什么都不怕，只怕死，不是吗? You say you fear nothing but death, right? 我只怕真相没有你们想象中那么有趣. I'm just afraid the truth is not as interesting as you imagine. 我只怕会出什么意外，不知道如何是好. I just fear something unexpected will come up, and I won't know what to do. Next are two examples of 只会. 出现如此过失，只会是两种可能. There are only two possible reasons for such a mistake. 他们只会搞些花样，使我们没面子. They'll just do something to embarrass us. Can only or could only is rendered as 只能. 我顶多只能等3天. I can only wait 3 days at most. 大使只能接待你们10分钟. The ambassador can only receive you for 10 minutes. 好像你只能骂人，而不能挨骂. It seems you can dish out criticism, but cannot take it. 只要 is the way to say as long as, or all you have to do is this. 只要你想去，当然可以去. If you want to go, by all means go. Literally, of course you can go. 只要他不信口开河，你可以请他来. As long as he doesn't talk nonsense, you can invite him. 我不是2首诗都要背，只要其中一首. I don't want to memorize both poems, just one of them. To express only, just, or merely, use 只不过是 with or without 而已 at the end. 这只不过是短时间的问题而已. This is only a short-term problem. 他不会打我的，只不过是责骂我而已. He won't hit me, he'll just yell at me. 这些只不过是人们一语之道的例子而已. These are merely the best-known examples for most people. The next expression is 只好, which translates as the only alternative is, or to have to. 生意不景气，领班只好叫我走. Business was down, so the foreman had to let me go. 我们没赶上公车，只好走回家. We missed the bus and had to walk home. 我没办法，只好顺从照办了. I had no choice but to comply with the order. 看在高薪的份上，他只好在国外生活. The high salary reconciled him to living abroad. 您说 一定要怎样，那也就只好怎样了。If you must, you must. Another, only, just, or merely, is 只 with 是，只是。他利用人只是为了往上爬。He used people merely to climb up the corporate ladder. 我只是间接听到这个新闻的。I only heard the news indirectly. You'll recall that 间 from lesson 19 can also be pronounced fourth tone 间, referring to separation, a gap or interval between two things. So 间接 means to connect, 接 but with an interval between. 间, or in other words, indirectly, 间接 rather than directly, 直接。我何尝不想去，只是没有时间。I meant to go, I just didn't have the time. You'll recall 尝 from lesson 78, meaning to taste, try, or experience something, literally to distinguish the flavors in food. When combined into the phrase 何尝, it becomes a rhetorical question, a question only for dramatic effect, without actually expecting an answer. Literally it says, how can you taste that? Or in better English, how do you know that? Or in this sentence, how could it be that I didn't want to go? I just didn't have the time. 内行人都说，这只是冰山一角。People in the know say this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, Chinese has the same expression, tip of the iceberg. Here's another example. 上面列出来的问题只是冰山一角。The problems listed above are just the tip of the iceberg. 我对地理只是一知半解，你可能要另请高明。I only have a superficial grasp of geography, so you may need to ask someone else for help. Notice the two idioms, 一知半解 and 另请高明。一知半解 literally translates as to know one thing, but only understand half of it. In other words, to have inadequate or scanty knowledge of a topic. 另请高明 we've seen several times before, meaning to ask someone more qualified than oneself. 只需 is short for 只需要, which directly translates as it only needs or it only takes. 飞到泰国只需4个小时. It only takes 4 hours to fly to Thailand. 坐高速火车从英国到法国只需3个小时. It only takes 3 hours to travel from England to France by high-speed rail. The next expression is 只当, meaning to treat as, to regard as, or even to pretend. This phrase can be pronounced either first tone 只当 or fourth tone 只当. In Taiwan, people generally use first tone 只当, so that's what I'm using in the following sentences. 走吧，走吧，只当没有看见. Go, just go. Simply pretend you didn't see it. 不要过问这件事，就只当不知道. Don't ask, just act like you know nothing about it. 他对母亲这句话只当作没有听见，不然只会吵架. She pretended not to hear her mother's comment. Otherwise, they'd just quarrel. These last 4 sentences use 只限于 to mean something is restricted or limited to a specified group. 今天的活动只限于男性. Today's event is limited to men only. 大家给我的支持不只限于言语和行动. The support you all gave me was not limited to words and actions. 大国之间的关系不可能只限于贸易而已. The relationship between major countries cannot be restricted to trade. 他坐轮椅，一天的活动只限于上街买东西和看朋友。Being wheelchair-bound, her daily activities revolve around shopping and visiting friends. Here is our color chart with today's two characters. 平 and 只. Here's a recap from today's lesson. 1. This lesson continues from the previous lesson, introducing certain pictograms that serve as musical notations. Today's first character was 平, indicating the unobstructed, relaxed, and gentle expansion of the breath. 2. Some etymologists contend that 平 is not a musical notation at all, but merely a sketch of a set of scales, with objects of equal weight on either side. Regardless of its true origin today, 平 carries the connotation of being even or flat, with the metaphorical meaning of peacefulness and calm. 3. Today's second character was 只, a sort of sentence final punctuation, indicating the end of a sentence or thought. It was later used interchangeably with another character having the same pronunciation, but representing an emblem on the clothing of members of the nobility, who had the exclusive right to use it. This sense of exclusivity was extended to mean only, excluding all others, which is now the meaning of today's new character, 只. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.